to another drive-in double feature. I'm Ryan,
I'm Nathan.
and this is the podcast where we talk about two movies a week every Tuesday and Thursday. Today we are talking about 2002's Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla, continuing our travel into the Godzilla series. This one is directed by Masaki Tezuka. He is a returning director. He
Okay.
did do Godzilla versus Megaguirus, the flying insect movie.
Okay. Gotcha. I remember that one.
So he is back, and he really wanted to prove himself because he really wasn't completely satisfied with Godzilla versus Mechaguirus. And going back to that one, Nathan, I think we were both kind of very meh towards it. Like we
Yeah.
weren't like that. I think we enjoyed like the action of it, but we weren't really like in love with the whole thing. And
hmm
um, this one is coming off the trail of Godzilla Mothra King Ghidorah movie. And this one does it again. This is another standalone movie. It has nothing to do with any of the sequels before it at all.
I don't know about I'm getting I know it's gonna
Oh.
end soon, but I'm really tired of this. I don't know. I like when the movies connect. I like when they have like an overarching story, and I think like you do this reboot thing every once in a while, but now it's like, oh, another one that's forgetting all the rest of them. I think that's a little tired.
I agree. I like I like consistency. I like continuity.
hmm
I like returning characters, and you don't really get that a lot in these Godzilla movies. And um we uh we do get like some form of a series going a little bit with this one and the next one, but um as far as we know that this is the only one that is connected to that movie. But I will say this one at least acknowledges other monsters, though.
It's true. Yeah.
One of the very few ones that actually does do that. Um, so like we do get to see, like, they do acknowledge Mothra, they acknowledge the, the Gargantuas, Gaia, and
What the hell was that? I was not expecting that. I actually really love that because it was like, oh, in the past we had Mothra. And, I'm like, okay, Mothra, we're going to talk about King Ghidorah probably. And they're like, the Gargantuas, or what I think they called it like Monster Frankenstein or whatever. I was like, what the hell? Like, I just thought that was cool to see.
that such a very random pull, and
Yeah.
uh, I was not expecting that, but it was very much appreciated.
Yes.
Um, but I want to go back to Godzilla versus Megaguirus because the director Tezuka, he was not really satisfied with that one, and in a lot of ways, Nathan, he actually acknowledges that this movie is a remake of Godzilla versus Megaguirus,
Really? Okay. I didn't even think of it that way. But,
and
it's
it's only
funny.
it's only 2 years removed.
Yeah, to remake it 2 years ahead. But I honestly noticed the story beats being similar in this one, but I didn't think about it as a remake. It's actually very similar now that I think about it.
It's very similar. There's a female soldier who's the
hmm
main character, same as this one. She makes an error that gets her a lot of people killed.
hmm
And also, too, there is this very destructive weapon that they're hoping that to use to kill Godzilla, and it does. And the weapon kind of ends up being not enough to kill Godzilla, even though it hurts him pretty badly, type of thing.
hmm
But that's kind of what this movie is. It's a very soft remake.
Yes, yeah, a very soft remake, but it's not the same monsters or anything, just like similar characters.
No. I will say though that this movie does kind of start out with a bit of a bang. You know, Godzilla shows up almost right away in this movie, which
hmm
I always am totally there for because it's
hmm
I think sometimes movies they hold them back too much sometimes. So I was glad for them to actually have that. Godzilla is destroying this town. There's this soldier named Akane, and she ends up making this really big error where Godzilla ends up flipping one of these tanks and ends up getting like a whole like platoon of soldiers killed,
Hmm.
and she's kind of being burdened with that guilt. And when she goes to her superiors, they're like, it's like, oh, don't worry, this is not going to affect you in any way whatsoever. And then the next 4 years, she ends up having a desk job, so she ends up kind of getting
Yeah.
screwed with that whole thing.
Yeah, we're for not shooting the maser cannon, okay? Which I thought was an error when I first heard it, but I guess it is a maser. But I think when they first mention it, she says, "All right, shoot the maser," and then I think the dub actor for the second person there actually says laser instead of maser. So it threw me off a little, but I do think it's maser because they say that the rest of the movie.
It is Mazer because that is a returning weapon, though that is like
Hmm.
a that's the like if you've seen like any of those other lasers in the Godzilla movies,
Those are masers.
they are called Mazers. Yes.
Didn't know that.
Yes. And oh, that's one thing we haven't mentioned. So I'm assuming you watched the dub version.
Yes, yeah. That's all I could find.
I couldn't find any type of sub version. The I I want to say there was the dubbing was better maybe in the last Godzilla movie, but I feel like maybe this is just me. I felt like the dubbing was worse compared to the last movie.
I think like it was bad. It wasn't like so horrible it ruined the movie. I think what made it worse for me was the little girl being such a prominent character and how much of an adult voice did her. That kind of threw me off.
That is very clear. It is a grown woman is doing the voice of this child, and
Hmm.
she is a very prominent character because that's who the other character is in this movie. Is there's scientist character, and his name is what was it again? Yuhara, Professor
Hmm.
Yuhara, and he kind of develops the technology for Mechagodzilla, and he has like these little like arthropod looking type of things. It's like it's like uh these creatures that were prehistoric, but like their
Hmm.
outside is totally different and everything. It's just we are able to recreate these characters, and that's kind of what they end up doing in this one. It's this very top secret mission where they do hire this professor and they do show him the skeleton of the original Godzilla from the 1954 movie.
Hmm.
Um, so they go through like the whole thing, Dr. Sarazak killing him with the oxygen destroyer, and they're like, oh, he when he died, we don't have the oxygen destroyer anymore, but we do have the Godzilla skeleton. So we want you to take this skeleton and turn it into uh, our own version of Godzilla,
Yeah.
using the technology that you've made.
Which is a really that it's a fun concept, right? Like I love the shot of the bones on the bottom of the ocean and like the fact that like okay, we're going to take this original Godzilla and this is going to be the hero in quotations of this movie. I think that's just a fun like just a fun concept. But I will there is a joke that made me laugh really hard in these movies. They usually the jokes are not funny, haha jokes, but there's the one with the little girl and she wants to go work with her dad and she's like
Oh,
yeah, she's like oh like we you could bring me to the laboratory just like the baseball stars do. They bring their child to the dugout. And he's like, no, no, that's silly. This isn't baseball. And then a group of adult scientists, old men, come in and they're like, you can bring your daughter to work, kind of like those baseball stars do with their
that's
children in the dugout. I was that was legitimately really funny. I thought that was a great joke.
that was funny, but not in like I don't know if I thought it was funny or just like the fact that it was such a bizarre joke to say.
It's so yeah, I think so. I think that's it goes into it. It's like a weird joke, but it was funny. And this
And
movie's
that,
obsessed with baseball too.
yeah, well, that's like one of the a really famous baseball player is actually in this
Mm,
movie where he's actually playing baseball with the children in this movie. He has a little cameo, and actually, he does get signed to the New York Yankees in this time period too, right after this movie comes out. So,
that's cool.
and also too, and this some of this information was taken from Big Action Bill. This baseball player also is nicknamed Godzilla by a lot of the fans there in Japan, and that nickname sticks to when he goes to the New York Yankees, and anytime he'd hit like a home run, they'd be like, "Oh, the thriller from Godzilla,"
I like that. That's actually really cool.
because he was a very big guy. You know, he was like 6'2", weighed 200 pounds, which that's a very tall, that's a very big gentleman for Japan
Yeah,
standards.
that's like that is a giant there. Even though he wasn't a New York Giant. Oh, wait, hold on. So I just looked him up. His team in Japan was the Yumori Giants. So he was on the
Oh,
Giants.
oh, there you go. So
Oh,
yeah, this
wow.
movie does like no, no, it's
That-
legitimately though, like the director, Tezuka, he is a big baseball player
that's cool. That's
or
cool.
big baseball fan, excuse me. Um, but yeah, that's they do find the Godzilla and they do like a little time skip. It's been about like 4 years, I think, is what they say,
Something
and
like that.
um, they put together Mechagodzilla, and they're like, "All right, well, we're ready to take him out for a test drive," and they have this new weapon on Mechagodzilla called the Absolute Zero Cannon,
Hmm.
where it's basically he just targets something and he shoots it with a freeze ray, and it turns everything into like a frozen state, and it's able to just shatter like glass, and that's what they intend to use on Godzilla, because Godzilla in this movie is definitively a villain. He's a bad guy, a monster in this one.
Yes, yeah, and I like that that's at least consistent. And I think for one thing, I haven't always loved these Millennium Godzilla movies. I don't know, they just haven't really like fully clicked for me. But they do get Godzilla's look right all the time. Like I love Godzilla in this movie.
Yeah, in the last one he was more of like a very like demonic, ghostly type of thing. Like they made him like super evil in the last movie.
They really
And this
did.
one it's not nearly as demonic as what they were trying to go for, but the design of it still looks great. I mean, despite how you may feel about the story elements or anything like that, the practical effects in these movies have never wavered in any type of way. It always just it's so consistent. I don't think like in terms of now you could say whatever you want about the CGI. I totally get that, but in terms of practical effects, like the puppetry, the miniatures, the suit actors, like I'm blown away each time. I'm always just like I can't believe like the amount of effort it takes to make everything look this good.
Yeah, that's definitely the coolest part is when you get Godzilla fighting and it's like, oh, it just looks great. And that's when I'm most interested in these movies is when you get to see destruction, when you get to see all those. And like you alluded to, I feel like that's when the CGI kind of like maybe cuts it a little bit, especially in these, because it starts to look really cheap. I think it's this one, Godzilla and Mechagodzilla, they jump around a lot and the CG on that is just like this bad, like it just like almost feels like they took a screen filter, made him really small, and then really big when he landed. And I just thought that looked particularly bad.
Yeah, there's definitely some noticeable moments. Like there's one scene where they're actually recreating the scene from the 1954 Godzilla movie where it's like underwater, which the
Mhm.
CGI in that one is very noticeable.
Again, because
Uh,
this isn't the first time for something like that.
yeah, I will say though, to give it some credit to this movie, I do think the CGI has improved
Yeah.
from where we were. Not to say it's good by any standards, but I do think
Mhm.
there is a improvement there,
Yeah,
which that's
I
worth
can get
pointing
behind
out.
that. Yeah.
Yeah. So right away when Mechagodzilla comes out, which they have nicknamed him Kiryu in this one,
Mhm.
which is the a very literal translation is metal dragon.
Oh,
So there you go.
badass.
Um, this one, like he does show up. Godzilla almost immediately shows up to face Kiryu, um, and we get a fight scene right away. I mean, the whole point of him not using the absolute zero cannon right away is that it does use up about half of Kiryu's power each time he
Mhm.
does it, and They do get into the some really fun little fight scenes. And I think this fights in this one is some of the best we've seen, in my opinion.
They're good.
I really I really enjoy a lot of the fights in this one. There's one where like Mechagodzilla just straight up shoulder checks Godzilla and Godzilla just goes flying
Hmm.
in this movie, and which was a very fun moment for me.
No, I agree. I think if there's one thing that this movie, I think when I came out of this movie, I wasn't loving it, but it's a movie I've thought about. And I had to like put it in comparison to the other Millennium movies, and I think the fights were handled much better here. There's something about maybe it's just Mechagodzilla. Mechagodzilla in general just has like a nice charisma to it almost. It's like a really fun idea. So when you get to see these two just like bashing each other, it's cool. So I do enjoy that.
For me, I will say of the movies after the Showa era, for me, the Mechagodzilla movies have been the strongest. And I mean, we'll get
Yeah.
into our feelings about what this one is for both of us at the end, but I think at least these movies deliver on some level with the fights. Uh, I do want to mention, so they kind of are going back and forth, and Godzilla does this roar at one point,
Hmm.
and it almost has a very like a triggering effect against Mechagodzilla. And there's one that, and I was really kind of excited for this part because I thought like this was going to be like a consistent thing, but it doesn't really play a factor in it in this movie. So when Godzilla roars, Mechagodzilla kind of goes like into like a trance kind of where instead of the defense force controlling Godzilla, because Akane is like the main pilot for that one,
Hmm.
the ghost or like the skeleton of the 1954 Godzilla kind of takes control of Mechagodzilla. It's like or Mechagodzilla is almost possessed,
Hmm.
and now it has like this evil Godzilla is the one piloting this one, and it kind of goes into like a bit of a rampage there even. And I was really excited for that because I thought I was like, oh my God, like the ghost of the original Godzilla is now inhabiting this giant mecha Godzilla, and that this is just and like maybe Godzilla is gonna have to fight that one, and Godzilla becomes like the hero again type of thing. They
Hmm.
kind of do like a reverse type of thing, but that's the only
Yeah.
real part of it.
Why did they
That's it.
forget that plot line? Because I totally agree. I thought that was really inventive. I thought that whole sequence it like kind of humanizes this Mechagodzilla in a way, which is funny to say, but like because he has these flashbacks and you see it like the destruction from before, like from the movie, and then he like it's almost like it triggers something in him, and I was like, whoa, that's really cool. Like that's such a great concept. And then they drop it completely. Like they what they do is they're like, okay, we're not going to use Mechagodzilla anymore, and then they bring him back and then it's no issue. I was fully expecting it to hit again. It doesn't happen again, right? Like nothing like that happens again. I think that's such a missed opportunity.
Well, like they kind of touch on it a little bit where like
Mhm.
Akane like realizes that Kiryu is like this living being as
Mhm.
well, and she starts talking to it and like oh let's team up together and work together as a team type of thing.
Mhm.
But in terms of it like affecting the plot, it's more of just like a way for this fight to kind of stop, and we don't really we need a reason for them to break up this fight, and that's the reason why. That's
That's
it
right.
felt more like that than
Yeah.
anything else.
Um, I will say I think the human characters I don't hate them. I just felt like maybe the human plot once again was just a little boring. I do like Akane though. I like the girl that plays her. I think she kind of plays it well, and like I like her. I guess you don't really see a lead character in Godzilla that's depressed very often because that's her deal. She's like, "Do I matter? Is there like a reason for living?" Things. I was like, okay, that's interesting, but maybe I just felt like the plot around it wasn't as interesting as it could have been.
Well, totally agree. I really like the character of Akane. I think she is a welcomed addition. I think I love like a because so often like female characters in these Godzilla movies,
Mhm.
at least from the Showa era, are very much just kind of like an afterthought, or they're kind of treated like damsels in distress are like, oh, I'm just here to like be an observer type of thing. I'm not really here to like advance the plot in any sort of way. That does change obviously when we get into the Heisei. You know, you get Mickey, and she becomes like a big character.
Hmm.
Um, but I do appreciate characters that kind of have like a tragic backstory, and they kind of they're trying to overcome that and trying to get over that hump. So I enjoyed that character. Now the scientist, Dr. Yuhara, and his daughter, I was just kind of like, they're sad that their mom is dead type of thing.
Hmm.
Like the wife and mom is dead. That seems to be like their main thing.
Yeah, and like the daughter's like, oh, like doesn't like death, and I think the dad's like, oh, ever since her mom died, she doesn't like death anymore. It's like, okay, that's fine, understandable.
Remember, you used to love death. What's wrong with
Yeah,
you?
what's going on? You're not eating your death for dinner? No, because that's right. They have this tragic backstory. I forgot about it until right now, where like their mom was pregnant. He chose to keep his wife alive. The wife wanted the baby to be alive, and then the daughter, of course, wanted them both to be alive, and they both died. So it's tragic. But I guess I wasn't feeling the impact because the scientist, he's overly goofy. Like he's always hitting on Akane, trying to like be with her. So it's just kind of I think he's played more for laughs.
Yeah, and they don't really, I mean, they do kind of play off that whole relationship as a joke, and she's not interested. And then at the end of the movie, at post-credit scene, she does agree to go on a date with him.
I don't think I stayed for the post credits. I got to remember to. All these have had post credits.
Yep, that's right. You have to stay.
Hmm.
But anyway, like there's not, I mean, in terms of like the plot, like they do are they're kind of going back and forth about like the Kiryu, but they're able to just sort of overcome that because they're kind of controlling Mechagodzilla from like outside. And then Akane's like, no, I'm going to go into him and I'm going to actually pilot
Hmm.
Mechagodzilla and I want to be in this fight together. And um, there's this really big fight sequence like towards the end of the movie. I mean, it just kind of that's kind of like the main event, and it does take up a pretty large portion of it, probably like a third of the movie, I'd say. This is
Hmm.
not a very long movie. It's only about 80 minutes. It's not
Yeah.
long. Um, so the fight scene definitely takes up a majority of this movie, and like I said, it's really impressive. We get a lot of cool miniatures, you know, like we get Godzilla attacking Mechagodzilla, we get them flying into these different buildings. Uh, Mechagodzilla tries multiple times to use his absolute zero cannon and it totally misses each time. And
Hmm.
he's kind of getting desperate at this point, and we it kind of leads up to this finale.
Hmm. Yeah, and but I will say, like just like we've been saying before, I think the final fight's really good. And it is only 80 minutes, and I think that does help the movie because most of this movie is monster fight, I'm pretty sure. Like that is a
Yeah,
good portion of this movie,
a good
thankfully.
chunk of it. Yeah. Yeah, I think that does help it in a lot of ways. Like I said, the backstory in this one with Akane is good, but it's not enough to support like an extra 20 or 30 minutes of this movie. Like
No.
that'd be a kind of a drag, but we uh we do get a really cool fight scene, and at the end they're kind of tussling around, and Mechagodzilla actually like the atomic breath from Godzilla does hurt Mechagodzilla a lot, and then he's able to like extinguish it because Godzilla's about to do his atomic breath again, but he actually holds like Godzilla's mouth shut in
Hmm.
order from him from doing the atomic breath, and they end up kind of tussling and falling into the ocean, and uh, Kiryu does the absolute zero cannon to Godzilla. It does hurt Godzilla a lot, but it's not enough to kill him, and then Godzilla just slinks away like at battle damage. Both of them are not looking great, but so Godzilla kind of flees the scene and just goes into the water, which I mean, I know this is that's pretty typical for Godzilla movies. It still feels very flat though.
Oh, I agree because he
Right.
swims away, right? Because they're both in the water at the end of the
Like
movie. And
Right, like at least in the other one, there's like some bit of ambiguity that is like, oh, is
Mhm.
Godzilla dead or not? It's like
Yeah.
no, you can clearly see him, and
No, I definitely felt that because he swims away and I was expecting more and there wasn't more. So it's like it's like they didn't want to keep it definite for some reason. I don't they keep on whatever I forget what you call it, but just rebooting the whole series every time. So I don't understand why you can't make it at least a little more final. But I do like the final shot of Akane standing on top of like Mechagodzilla, and like I think it's the sun's at her back, and she's like battle torn, but she did it. I did like that final shot. I will say that.
yeah, I do like some of the shots in this movie. I just would have liked a little bit more of a definitive ending. And here was my thought process
Hmm.
that I was like, okay, like maybe they're doing this because they are intentionally setting up a sequel because I did know after this one that, this movie is a direct sequel, the one movie
I didn't
after
know
this.
that.
So I was just kind of uh, hey, maybe that was going to be like a thing. Like that's the whole reason they did the ending like that. They had to be like, oh, to be continued. But I looked it up and no, they were, this was supposed to be a standalone movie. It wasn't until after the fact they made it a sequel.
Okay, so they just meant to end it poorly.
I
Like
guess so. Like that was supposed to be like the ending of the movie, and they were just supposed to be like okay with it.
it feels like more the end of like a TV episode, right? Like, oh, both of us were hurt, but we made it out kind of deal. I guess it makes sense like they just scared away Godzilla. They didn't end up killing it, but just yeah, I think you're right. The best word is just flat. It just falls kind of flat.
It does. It didn't really deter my movie enjoyment of this one. In my opinion, it's a short enough movie. The story is halfway decent,
Hmm.
and there's enough really fun action in this movie here that it does make it entertaining for me. Not one of the best ones, I will say, but I did have a good enough time with it. And like I said, the fight scenes are totally worth watching this movie. So for me, I would give this one a recommend.
So this movie, when after I first finished it, I wasn't in love with it. But it's a movie I've kind of settled on a little bit. And kind of like, what did I like? I liked Akane. I liked her depression, her storyline. I like the fights. And I think the fights make up the bulk of the movie. So I think overall I can say I think it's a fine movie. But I didn't love it completely. So I personally would be like, okay, I'd recommend it. If you like Godzilla, then most likely you will like this movie. But this is not a movie that's going to ever get you into the franchise. I wouldn't say pick this one up. So it's kind of like somewhere in the middle.
Oh no. I mean, can you imagine like you watch like the 1954 Godzilla movie and then this one?
Yeah, no, yeah, that'd be total like a shock to the system.
Oh yeah, it'd be funny. Uh, but anyway, in terms of results of this movie did underperform. It sold I think like 700,000 less tickets compared to the last movie,
Wow.
and I think about 300,000 less than compared to Megaguirus, which is like the movie that they were trying to reboot type of thing. And
They
uh
never they if there's no Mothra or King Ghidorah, then they're screwed. That's all I hear.
that seems to be the case. Like that just seems to be like the predominant case in this of those movies. So I mean, even Tezuka like said himself, like he was kind of baffled. He thought this movie would do a lot better because Tezuka, like one of his favorite Godzilla movies was King Kong versus Godzilla. That was one of his favorite ones, and I think this one kind of, not in terms of silliness, but like in terms of like the vibe and stuff, I feel very similar in certain ways,
I could
if
see
that
that.
makes sense.
Yeah, I get it.
Uh, it's not as serious as the last movie. I'll say that. That's
Hmm.
that's that's what I'll say. Um, oh, and just on one thing to end on, you know what Tezuka's biggest regret was about this movie, Nathan?
What?
That he didn't get the actress that plays Akane into a bikini and get a shot of her in a bikini and swimming, like a close-up shot of her.
Really? That's his regret?
Uh, that's there's an interview with him where he said that was his biggest regret, that he didn't get put her in a bikini and get a close-up shot.
Dude, like you're that just makes you sound weird. Like the good way to make like no actress to ever work with you again. Be like, oh, I wish I could have gotten my lead in a bikini, and I just filmed that for my own personal enjoyment. Little odd.
Little odd, considering there's probably bigger issues with this movie to fix first, but
Yeah, like,
whatever.
oh, like I wish we had a bigger budget, made the CGI better, maybe improve this character.
No,
No,
we missed
no.
we missed not having a bikini pool party scene.
Yeah. Even though one cool fact I did learn, Akane, the actress, she's actually the voice of Joanna Dark in Perfect Dark Zero for the 360, the Japanese version. I found that out. I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. It's a
Oh, well, there you
weird
go.
weird little thing.
Yeah. Well, I think that's about wraps it up for this one. I think we've said all we could say about this one, but we will continue it, like I said, when we go back to the Godzilla series. So, Nathan, we're going to get back to our regularly scheduled programming. What are we going to be covering on Tuesday?
All right. Well, Ryan, on Tuesday, we are going to be talking about 1963's Jason and the Argonauts, which is streaming over on good old reliable Tubi. But Ryan,
Terrific.
what are we covering on Thursday?
Well, Nathan, we are going to be doing a Kung Fu movie, Nathan. We
It's
are going to
been
be
too long.
talking about, oh, yeah, it's been a long time. We're going to be talking about the Magnificent Butcher, which is streaming on the Criterion Channel from 1979. And that's how you can watch it on the Criterion Channel, like I said.
Awesome. I'm excited to watch that one.
Terrific. Well, if you have any thoughts and opinions, please, please, please email us over at driveanddoubleph@gmail.com. Let us know if there's something you want to watch, we want us to cover. We'll take any movie into consideration. And if you have a comment you want to leave, check out our YouTube channel, youtube.com/Drive and Double Feature Podcast as well, where we'd love to hear from you. But until next time.
Until next time.